Okay, so I'm kind of beat because I only got a couple hours sleep last night, and since this is my only day off, I decided to go do a lot of stuff that I needed to do this week in the one day off that I had. So I got up fairly early and went and ran some errands. I bought myself a new 3D printer, which should help me out a lot with my customs and stuff like that. So I'm really excited about that. But if you've never bought a 3D printer, what you don't know probably is that when you buy a 3D printer, you have to assemble literally the whole damn thing, like all these belts and motors and pulleys and tensioners and all this stuff that I had to put together. And I'm not somebody who's like gifted with electronics or mechanically inclined. So I had to watch a video on how to do it on YouTube as I was doing it. And this fellow who made this video, while he was pretty knowledgeable, and I don't want to imply that his advice was not helpful, because it certainly was. Uh, it'd be the sort of thing where like he wasn't doing it in real time, if that makes any sense. He was kind of he'd be like, okay, first you do this step, and I'm start working on this step, and as I'm finishing up the step, okay, then we go on to the next step, and I'm like, whoa, calm down, like I'm still on the first thing. So like it just kept kind of having to pause the video and come back to it, and it was kind of a hassle, but I got it done, and I haven't printed anything out yet because once I got done with it, I was pretty exhausted. So I'm getting ahead of myself. I just took everything out of the box already. Let's put it back in the box so that we can look at the box together. And what I've got here is a Valaverse Action Force Weapons Pack Bravo. And I mainly bought this because of the Marine hat it comes with. Bought 3 of these bad boys. But there's a lot of cool weapons in here, so let's go ahead and go through them. You can see it's got a picture on the back of all the weapons that it comes with. It's got a saw, an AK-47, and that gun that looks kind of like an Uzi, but it's not really an Uzi. And it's got a shotgun, and I forget what the name of this gun is, and 3 pistols, and a bunch of little pew-pews that we can plug into them, and a little sickle thingy. So let's go ahead and open it up, have a look and see what all's in here. The box itself is pretty cool. It's almost made to look kind of like a foot locker or something, with like a handle there and some clasps, like a weapons case or what have you. So it's kind of neat that they did that. But this is one of the things that I was really excited about with Action Force when I first saw these figures coming out, is that they had actual weapons packs, which I really like. Getting extra weapons for my figures, especially because they're just now getting to the point where they're starting to put realistic weapons in with G.I. Joe Classified, so it'll be nice to have some of those. So there's the AK-47, which you can see is gold, so that's pretty ostentatious. This would probably work pretty well for like Destro or Cobra Commander or something like that. Oh, hey, look, I can see my eyeball right through the trigger guard. I didn't even mean to do that the first time. That's pretty cool. And here's the saw, which you notice these don't have the ammo in them, so I'll put those together in a minute. This particular submachine gun, is that an HK? Like I said, I'm not expert on weapons and stuff like that, so I could be wrong about a lot of this stuff. You can feel free to correct me in the comments and let me know what is what. I would appreciate it, actually, but just be kind about it. Please don't be too harsh on me. I'm just not knowledgeable about it. But that's a really cool looking gun. I think that would be a good one for various G.I. Joe characters. Let's see. This gun's pretty cool, but it's mostly colored white. And like I was kind of hoping it would just be like a light gray, but no, that's straight up white, man. So that's probably one I'm gonna wind up repainting, unless I wind up giving it to an Arctic Trooper or something. But it's pretty cool looking. This is a gun that I buy a gun kind of similar to this from Marauders a lot, And I've gotten it as a free gift a lot from Marauders, and I wind up giving it to the retro card Cobra Troopers. Here's the hat. This is the main reason I bought it. This Marine utility cover. And I've got a lot of uses for that for customs. This is the same one that I wound up. It came with Sergeant Slaughter, and I wound up putting it on Gung Ho. And I'll probably wind up putting this one on Gung Ho because I think it's a little closer to the color that his hat was in the original figure. It's still not 100% accurate to that, but okay. So then we got the gun that looks kind of like an Uzi, but it's not an Uzi. And that'll probably be good to give, like, one of my Snake Eyes figures at some point. I'm planning on making a custom Snake Eyes. And I'll show you the head that I got recently on eBay. And I painted it up. And I think it turned out pretty cool looking. Yeah, I got this from eBay. I forget the name of the guy that I got it from. But when I do a video about the custom figure, I will happily give him credit. Because that is a nice looking head. So, the ball joint at the bottom is gigantic. And I suspect what happened is he probably 3D printed these. Well, I know he 3D printed them, but I suspect that, like, I know he had a 3 3/4 inch version of this head. I suspect he just kind of blew that head up. And, that's why the neck socket is so huge there. Alright, so here's the shotgun. So that's pretty cool. And then this sickle, which I don't really know what I'm going to do with. Maybe if I make an Alpine at some point, I can pretend like that's his pickaxe. And then we have the ammo clip for the AK-47. So let's go ahead and pop that in there. And that way that can be complete. These Action Force clips fit really well into the guns. Like, a lot of the times, I don't really like the removable ammo clips because I feel like they come out too easily, and I wind up usually just gluing them in. But these actually feel like they stay in there rather sturdily. Wanted to grab this Flint figure real quick because I want to put this shotgun in his hand and see how it looks with him. No, it's going to go in there real easy because you saw that I had the shotgun he actually comes with in there. And that is not bad. I've got 3 of these things now. So I can give a lot of characters shotguns. I can give 3 characters shotguns at least. But yeah, so that's what that shotgun looks like in a character's hand. Yeah. It might be nice to have him with a more realistic shotgun. I actually ordered the one from Gridiron Studios that's more accurate to what came with the version 1 figure. So I'm probably not going to leave this permanently with him, but I do think he looks good with it. So if you want a good shotgun for Flint, like a more realistic shotgun, but you don't want to shell out shotgun shell for the Gridiron Studios one, yeah, this might be a good substitute if you can substitute. There, I can talk. If you can get a hold of this particular weapon set, I might recommend that. Let's see, it's got little pew-pews in there. Let's see if will this one fit in this one. So some of them have like a little stem that fits in, and I think some of them are supposed to fit around the end of the barrel of the gun. Like, I think this one, there's the pew-pew is supposed to fit around the end of the barrel. There's one that's, the pew-pew itself is hollowed out. And this does go all the way in. I was kind of worried about forcing it. But then I figured I've got extras of these if I wind up breaking it. So he can actually hold this shotgun pretty well. I'm kind of surprised at that since, he doesn't have the articulation this way. He has the articulation this way. So I was kind of worried with just how rail straight that shotgun handle was. He might not be able to hold it pretty well, but I think that actually works. I think that looks really cool. So yeah, that's a decent one to use on there. And this is a fairly rigid plastic they used for these. If it was a little more rubbery, I'd be less worried about breaking it. But then again, if it was a little more rubbery, it might also be more difficult to fit it through the barrel of the gun. It might be just all like squirmy like spaghetti. So let's it will go in here, but of course it's way too loose. If you wanted to still use this holster for this shotgun, though, I suppose you could fill it in with like a little bit of craft foam or something like that. Just kind of glue some craft foam in there, and that would give it a little more a little more snugness. But if that's not a deal breaker to you, this is still a pretty good shotgun. It might be good for like a secondary weapon too, for somebody like Shockwave or somebody like that, to give him like a shotgun as like something you put on his backpack for when he runs out of ammo for his submachine gun or something like that. Just out of curiosity, since I've got Flint here and I've got this hat, I'm gonna see what he looks like with this hat. And it sits really high on his head because he's got such high hair. But I was thinking about doing a figure of Repeater, so I might just give him a haircut and glue the hat on. I was thinking Flint's head might work pretty well with Repeater because he's got that big square jaw. So, but yeah, it does sit a little high on the head, so I'd have to do a little bit of work with it, I think. I'll put the beret back on him now. So, and since I've got Flint handy, we'll try some of these other guns with him, so we can see what he looks like holding various guns. And these should all be pretty compatible with the G.I. Joe classified figures, since those are about the same size as Action Force. And I could try them with some of the Action Force figures too, but I put them on my shelf that's across the room, and I'm too lazy to go over there and get them right now. Whereas Flint, I have like right here. So here he is with this ostentatious gold AK-47, which is an awesome looking gun. And in the other sets, you can get it in, less ostentatious colors. But I think this will work really well, like I said, with a character like Cobra Commander or Destro, or somebody who, doesn't exactly want to keep a low profile. So there's what that looks like. And then we'll try this particular submachine gun. I don't know what the names of any of these are. They're not labeled. So other than the SAW and the AK-47, which those are both pretty obvious, like, I know I read somewhere what the name of this type of gun is, but I can't remember what it is. So hopefully somebody that's a gun guy will be watching this and be like, it's the X327, you moron! But I really don't know. So, you could probably have him hold the clip and use it like a gun grip. You could do that. Or you could probably, like, wrap the hand around the gun here. I'm always worried about stretching out the hands, though. Permanently stretching out the hands. But, it'll probably spring back into shape if you hit it with a hairdryer. But, the articulation on these classified figures is good. And the weapons are about the right size. They fit in there pretty well. So if you're impatient waiting for some G.I. Joes with more realistic weapons, this is a good way to get a bunch of weapons for like a decent price. I love the gridiron stuff, don't get me wrong, and it is worth the price you pay because it's high quality stuff, but it can get a little expensive, let's be honest. Whereas like this whole set cost me like $13, and it seems like it's good stuff to me. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. So let's see, we got the SAW here, and we got the ammo for that. Big ol' ammo box. So let's go ahead and, oh hey look, and there's some extra clips in there for the AK-47. So that's nice. In case you lose one of those. Or, like, Duster and Rollout from Action Force, they both have the extra pouches to fit clips into. So you could potentially take those clips and put them into one of those vests if you wanted to have like one of those characters, or if you're putting together another character from various accessory sets that they have, you could use that AK-47 and put those clips in the vest. So that's pretty cool. So that's another thing I don't like about a lot of the removable clips that come with weapons is usually they just come with one. And then I'm like, what's the point of it if you've only got one? You know, I need to get extra clips. Like, sometimes the Marauder ones come with extra clips, but usually if it's a weapon that comes with a figure, it just comes with that one clip. But, yeah, I guess the people at Valaverse see the problem with that, so that's good. So we can have him grip the front of the machine gun here, the front of the saw, and that way we can get a look at what Flint looks like while he's holding this saw, and that's pretty cool. The stock, I didn't quite get in there right, but I think if I bend the elbow just right, I can kind of fit that into the crook of the shoulder. There we go. That's a little better. I kind of feel like it's not quite right. It might dislocate his arm the way it is. The recoil might do it, but I don't know. Somewhere in here, maybe I pulled it out accidentally, or maybe they forgot to put it in here because I don't see it. I think that they're supposed to be, I'm pretty sure I saw that picture, like a bipod for this. I usually wind up losing the bipods anyway, so it's not that big a deal to me, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to come with a bipod. Let me check one of the other sets, and that way we can see. I wasn't going to open up all three of these sets on camera, but since I'm looking for something, I'll go ahead and open up the second one. At least open up the box anyway. So let's see here. I'll just see if maybe I can see it through the bag. Yep, sure enough, there is a bipod in here. So I think one of these is missing a bipod. The first one that I opened. That is unfortunate. But like I said, it's not that big a deal to me because I'd probably wind up, losing it anyway. With my luck. But, I'm sure if, God forbid, any of you out there watching had the same problem, you could probably contact Valaverse, and I'm sure they'd be happy to send you an extra bipod. I don't think it would be that big a deal. So let's check out these pistols. There's 3 of them of various sizes, and we'll go from smallest to biggest. And I'm also going to see how well they fit into Flint's holster. Because one unfortunate thing about these guns is they don't come with holsters. And while I'm at it, we've got 2 more pew-pews. We've got this tiny pew-pew, which that will fit on a pistol. We'll get to that in a second. And then we got this larger pew-pew. It's, I think, about the same size as the first one. They might even be the same exact sculpt. I don't believe they are the same exact sculpt. They look like they're different, which is good because, like, it gives you a little more variety. But they are roughly the same size. So this is the one that is supposed to go onto the saw, and it just kind of fits onto the tip, like so, and then he can be blasting at the bad guys that way. So if you like having your figures on your shelves like this, or for your dioramas or whatever, it's nice to know that that's an option, isn't it? It's going to drive me nuts that I don't have that other bipod. And like I said, I would have just lost it anyway, so I don't know why I'm getting so upset about it. But like I said, if you wind up with that being a problem, I'm sure you can contact them, and they will happily send you another one. So it's probably not that big a deal. I probably won't bother. But the thing that's really bugging me about it is that, like, now I'm concerned that, like, I left it somewhere. I feel like it was my fault. So, anyway, let's take the saw out of his hands, and we're going to move on to some of these pistols. And, like I said, not only do I want to try him out in the hands and see what he looks like holding them, but we will also put them in his holster and see if they fit in the holsters. Because one of the things that bugs me about these is, like, they're cool guns, but they don't have any holsters. So, hopefully they'll fit in some of the other holsters that I already have. This is the smallest one, and I think that's a Glock of some kind. I think. That's just me making a guess. I could be mistaken. So we're going to take this funky pistol out of Flint's holster that's already there, and we're going to be seeing what these look like in his holster and see if they fit. I do think that this is a really good gun for Flint, because it matches his color scheme also. It's black and green, just like his uniform. So let's see, does it go in the holster? It fits in the holster all right. It actually fits in there a little more snugly than I would have thought. It still falls out, but you know, like I said, it's the smallest gun in here, so it's you know, that I figured that was likely. But again, you could probably fill this in with a little bit of craft foam or something like that, and that would probably make it fit in there best. So, and the little pew pew, that'll fit in there just fine. So let's get him. I think, like, color-wise, this is probably the one that would look best with Flint, just because, like I said, it fits his color scheme. So that's nice. Now let's move on to the next one, which this is more of like a standard 45, I think. That would be something like General Hawk would look good with that. And I do have a General Hawk custom I'm working on, so since I got 3 of these, and I can give him 2 of them. But yeah, Flint again is going to model this weapon for us, and that's what he looks like shooting that 45. It'd be really good for like the shadow, like if you wanted to make a figure of him. So that's cool. And then we move on to this bad boy. Again, our ostentatiousness with a gold Desert Eagle. Looks like a Desert Eagle to me anyway. So it's good enough for me to pretend it's a Desert Eagle. Let's put the pew pew in there and see what it looks like with the pew pew. And this one seems to be the tightest fit for getting this pew pew in here. And that's probably because of the gold paint. So I shouldn't be that surprised with it. And let's put it into his hand. And I love gold! So let's see how well these 45 and how well the 45 and the Desert Eagle fit in this holster. And 45 again is kind of loose. Does it pass the upside down test? It actually does. So it's not quite as loose as that little green gun, but it's still loose enough that it just kind of rattles around a little bit. But it does stay in there a lot better. So this would be a good gun if you don't want to have the funky laser pistol for Flint. If you want to have a real gun, that'll actually fit into his holster all right. But I think the Desert Eagle might fit a little bit better. So let's try that in there. Oh, yeah. That's like it was made to go in there. Look at that. That definitely passes the test. So, but I would probably, the Alpha weapon set has more realistic colored versions of this gun. So I will probably get those to put into Flint's, get another one of those and put that into Flint's holster. You know, I could paint these, and I might paint them blue and give them Shockwave. Since I'm going to have to paint them anyway, I might as well paint them some other crazy color. So, let's try these last 2 weapons in his hands and see how they fit. This one's got like a really thin handle, and since his hand is already a little stretched out from holding the shotgun he came with, it kind of this is probably the one that fits in there the least well. Maybe if his hand weren't stretched out. Let's see if we can try it with another figure. And do I have another G.I. Joe classified figure around here that isn't holding a gun? They're all holding guns. So, except this guy. Okay. So here's something I hadn't really shown off yet because he's not done. But those of you watching this get like a little bit of a sneak preview of a figure I'm working on, which is this dial tone figure. And we're going to let him hold this gun for a minute. Because his hand, he isn't holding any weapons right now, so his hands aren't stretched out. So let's see how well a non-stretched out hand will hold this. And of course I got to get the finger in the trigger guard. There we go. And he holds it pretty well. So yeah, it works pretty well as long as it's a figure hand that isn't stretched out. So there we go. His hand doesn't seem to be all the way on the wrist. Like I said, it's a custom I'm working on, so he'd had his hand out for a little bit. It's mostly a reworked flint, but I used 2 of the gung ho arm guards because I wanted him to have some silver arm guards. You can see the microphone that's from Marauder Gunrunners, and I just kind of drilled a little hole in his ear and plugged it in there. It's made for 3 3/4 inch figures, but you can see it works just fine on this guy. So anyway, and then we got this last gun, and I got a feeling because of the way that this is set up, this might be a little difficult for the figure to hold with the hands not stretched out. So we'll go back to Flynn again, since he does have a stretched out hand. And just because of the nature of the way this thing is, I kind of have to work it in there. There we go. It is actually still kind of loose in his hand. The other ones had more robust handles, I think, and that's why he was able to hold on to those a little better. But the handles are a little smaller. But that's a nice looking gun. It's just like I'm not crazy about it being light. Like I said, if you gave it to like an Arctic Trooper or something, it might make sense though. So it's not necessarily like a bad choice. It's just one that I can't really find a whole lot of use for other than that. Maybe if I knew what their mindset was, and then I might see, oh, well that's why. Now it makes sense, but I have no idea what they were thinking. So I just look at it and I'm like, I wish it was a different color. I wish it was gray. Does it fit in here? Not very well. I kind of feel like the only weapon that's going to fit really well into this is the one that was made to fit into it. Like, even this one that fits in there pretty well, it just looks kind of awkward in there. So I think that shotgun that it came with is the only one that really goes in there pretty well. So you can see that I repainted his shotgun shells too, because I wanted them to be red. I felt like the character needed a little more red on him. Especially since, like, you can't really see his epaulettes and they aren't really painted in red anyway. But with the shotgun shells being red, that felt a little more old school to me. So anyway, overall, I think that this weapon set is a really good deal. And I would highly recommend it, like I said, to anybody who wants to get some more realistic weapons for their G.I. Joe Classified, or just, get some extra armaments for Action Force, which is the line it was actually made for. So I'd heard some people saying that the weapons weren't really compatible with G.I. Joe Classified, but I think, just judging from what I've seen here, that is untrue. They fit with the G.I. Joe Classified just fine. Apparently, there's some kind of rivalry between the groups of fans, but I don't ever pay attention to stuff like that. I just buy what I like. And I'm a fan of both of these lines of figures. I think they're both doing some great stuff. And, both of them, yeah, they got some issues that I think could be worked out, and they could probably both do better on certain aspects of their line. But, for the most part, I think they're both doing great. And, whether or not they could do better, I mean, you could always do better, right? You always want to have room for improvement. You don't want to rest on your laurels and, just be like, this is good enough. No, you want to be constantly pushing yourself to be better. You want to grow, right? I mean, isn't that what we all should want? So, whenever I do make criticism of an action figure, I want people to know that I'm coming from a place of, let's try to make this better rather than trying to tear something down. If I look at like a G.I. Joe or an Action Force or a Marvel Legends and I say this could be better, I don't mean that it's a bad toy. It might be a really good toy, but I just found something that left a little bit of room for improvement. Maybe next time that they do a character like this or do this character again, since, sometimes you get multiple versions of a character. Snake Eyes has had so many different versions. And hell, in G.I. Joe Classified so far, we've had two in the main line, and then the movie Snake Eyes figure. So that's if you're counting the movie series, and I know a lot of people don't, but it says classified on the package. So for the purposes of this discussion, I'm going to count it. That's three Snake Eyes you could potentially get, and all of them have things about them where I say this could be better. Honestly, I kind of feel like the one that has the least room for improvement would be the one that came with Timber, because like as far as being an adaptation of that specific version of Snake Eyes, I think it leaves very little room for improvement. However, this one, which is probably actually my favorite Snake Eyes, which made in the 1985 style, and I thought it looked really cool. Even though I think that technically this is my favorite of the three, there's still things that I could think of to do differently, and that, even if it wouldn't necessarily be an improvement per se, it would still be something that would be something that I would do differently, if that makes any sense. It might be a lateral move, but it's still a move I would make. So, so that means I've got a little bit of room to do my own, uh, what hopefully will be my perfect version of Snake Eyes in 6-inch form, and hopefully I'll be happy with that. And a lot of other people might look at it and be like, it's okay, but you could have done this differently or done that differently. And if you look at my customs and you see stuff you would like to have done differently, that's cool. Do your own and do it differently. But I did it this way because it's the way I want my custom to be. So, usually when people say you should have done this instead of that, I'm just like, well, maybe. So when you do yours, do it that way. So that's the way I look at it. I almost kind of think about the bit in Rocky Horror Picture Show when he's showing off the man that he made, Frankenfurter. He's showing off Rocky to Brad and Janet, and it's obviously he couldn't be more proud of anything. Nobody can be more proud of anything than he is of Rocky that he built. And Janet just looks at him like, well, I don't like men with too many muscles. And he's like, I didn't make him for you. That's kind of how I am with these customs. It's like, I make these for myself. I don't care if you like them or not. I'll show them off because I'm proud of them and I like for other people to see them. But I'm not going to get my feelings hurt if somebody didn't like it. I'm just kind of like, whatever. Like that roadblock, or not road, the rock and roll that I made. Like, that was probably the thing that I got the most negative responses for, of like any figure I've ever done of anything. Like, I almost never get any kind of negative responses. Usually what I get is like constructive criticism or anything, but and it was stupid stuff, just where like people are just being mean about it. And I'm just like, I don't care what you think. I'm happy with how this turned out. So, I might do some things differently in the future with it, because I do kind of look at it, that one as being kind of a work in progress. But for the most part, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. So otherwise, I would have taken pictures of it and put it on the internet. But you can't let stuff like that bother you too much. You got to let let it roll off your back like water rolling off the back of a duck, and just be your own worst critic, and don't let anybody else's opinions bother you. Anyway, I've gotten like way off track from talking about this weapons pack, which I really like and recommend, and you should buy it if you collect these figures, because it will enhance them greatly. And I'm really happy to have this hat, because I'm going to put this one on Gung Ho, because I think it's a little closer to the color of the original figure. And I've got like 3 more of these hats, because I've got the one that came with Sergeant Slaughter, and then 2 more of these green ones. So, lots of characters in G.I. Joe wear these hats, and I'm going to do some customs of them. And I'm excited about it. So anyway, that's pretty much it. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. And please leave a comment letting me know what you think about any of the many topics that I just expanded on in this review of accessories that had nothing to do with the accessories. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.